Bitcoin is getting very close to yet another breakout inside of its multi-leg run that we've seen since the beginning of April. The next measured move could put us off the charts into a new all-time high. And on the other hand, Ethereum has already broken its high. It is now in the middle of a breakout, seeing prices just above 2,700 today. And we are seeing that others, the low cap altcoin index is on the rise. The total 3 is also on the rise. And all of this has led to Bitcoin dominance seeing a plunge. The S&P 500 has gapped up to start the week. That was Monday, green close. Today, Tuesday, another green close. So there is plenty of things to discuss. Let's just dive into today's video. And in the news, corporations buy more Bitcoin than there is supply coming into the market. Obviously a very bullish update for Bitcoin. We also have the SEC, which just had their meeting for tokenization, the tokenization of everything basically. And another news update, which is not as positive, and that is BlackRock is warning about the quantum computing risk for Bitcoin. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson, and we got plenty to discuss. Bitcoin doing well, Ethereum doing well, altcoins doing well. Things have been recovering pretty well. And that means that crypto is cool again. What we're looking at right now is the S&P 500 and Bitcoin on the bottom. Now, the health of the stock market is very important for Bitcoin. Despite having had a few days or a week of decoupling in recent months, they are still very, very much aligned in their direction. The stock market has been raging, just sending straight to the upside relentlessly. And obviously, Bitcoin has had major benefit from that. Looking at Bitcoin's trend on the 4-hour chart, we've had many major impulses that led to consolidations. We had another impulse, now in another consolidation. Each measured move was really marked with it was like a perfect target. When you take the steepest part of your flagpole, put it on the breakout zone, draw your next flagpole from this low to the high, the steepest point on the flagpole, extrapolate that, put it on the breakout zone. It was yet another perfect target hit right into that wick high point. So these measured moves have been, well, helping quite a lot with figuring out where Bitcoin's price is going to go next. Is Bitcoin going to follow a perfect measured move once again and just sort of make it easy for us, get a breakout and punch up towards 114,000 or 115,000? That is the actual next target. If we get a breakout, this measured move gives us about 114 to 115,000. And what does that mean? Well, it means Bitcoin would be at a new all-time high if we fulfilled that target. Is that too much to ask for? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Bitcoin still has the momentum. And as long as that is the case, well, we're looking at 114 to 115,000. When would this change? Well, it could change if Bitcoin begins to fail to hold a general uptrend. And for that reason, I'm still expecting upside from this point until we get that change. So as of right now, targeting 114 to 115,000. Ethereum on the 4-hour chart, we've seen another impulse up, another breakout. So Ethereum is actually leading Bitcoin on the current run, making major progress. I mean, we are up quite a lot. The actual percentage gain, 49 and basically 50%, guys, 50% in 1 week. Ethereum is really the top gainer across the board. Now, in yesterday's video, we were talking about the flagpole for Ethereum, the measured move for Ethereum, which if you take this and you place it on the breakout zone of that falling wedge, it actually lands you up at 3150 roughly is the target on Ethereum's measured move. And so 3150 for Ethereum and for Bitcoin, believe it or not, it is 115,000 if we were to break out from this downtrend line. These are all very exciting targets and would be awesome to see. And with Ethereum being up 50% and a lot of the other top coins, XRP up 20%, Solana up 25%, Cardano up 25%, Dogecoin up 41%, Tron up 10%, Sui up 24%, Chainlink up 29%. A lot of the altcoins are outpacing Bitcoin right now. And this has sent Bitcoin dominance on a breakdown. So the percentage gains right now for Ethereum and altcoins are set to outpace Bitcoin. And I know the Bitcoin maximalists don't want me to say that or don't want me to even mention it, but that is actually just the reality. The altcoins are so low and Bitcoin is so high that it's going to be pretty easy for them to outpace Bitcoin in terms of percentage moves. We've already seen it, right? Bitcoin is up 10% this week. Ethereum's up 50%. The Bitcoin halving cycle profit this model that I created showing that about 40 to 80 weeks, more so 80 weeks after the halving, is the area of highest profitability across the market. The steepest part of the plunge in the previous cycle took about 7 weeks. It was 7 weeks that we had pretty much all of the dominance correction take place, just right there in 7 weeks. We have until, in theory, October to play out a plunge. There's definitely a lot of time for that. We have more time than we think, actually. If it only took 7 weeks to see something like that in the last cycle and we have until October, I think we're in a good spot. We have time. The setup is there. We just need to see it play out. And if you guys want to prepare for alt season, you need to be on an exchange that has every possible altcoin listing, which BloFin has every possible altcoin listing. And they are one of the, if not the fastest at adding new coins to their exchange. Their listing speed is better than Binance. It's better than Bybit by many minutes, actually. And sometimes those extra minutes in terms of listing new tokens can play a big role in catching the opportunity earlier than the rest of the crowd. And that's why you should be signing up with BloFin using that link below. 10% cash back on all of your own trading fees into your account every single day that you trade. You get 10% back. And we have an exclusive offer for this community. If you meet the deposit requirements, you get certain bonuses, which you can use as trading funds or maybe just some extra cushion in your account to mitigate any losses that may occur. Use it as extra collateral, whatever you want. Now, with this breakdown in dominance and looking for continued downside in a potential plunge, what are we seeing in the altcoin indexes? Well, this is something I was mapping out today in the Patreon voice chat, our morning voice chat, which we do every weekday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. And the total 3 is an index that includes everything except Bitcoin and Ethereum. So all the top cryptos and low caps. And what we have is an upward sloping channel for the total 3, which the target of this channel is coming in at about 1.5 to 1.6. And I think that's a pretty realistic next target as we're starting to see altcoins begin their expansion phase. Seeing the total 3 come up to a new all-time high at about 1.5 to 1.6 trillion would be reasonable, practical. It's really not even that crazy of a prediction. In fact, a lot of people would tell me that that's not bullish enough. But I don't necessarily think that it has to stop there. I think that will be a point where we find resistance and a correction to retest the previous all-time high. After that, I am looking for a test towards possibly 2.5 trillion for the total 3. The reason why is that usually the total 3 matches Bitcoin's market cap by the end of the cycle. When we're peaking, it's almost every time. I have an indicator on TradingView called Altcoin versus Bitcoin heat map, and you'll see that it's the total 3 versus Bitcoin pair, basically. And whenever you get to a 1-to-1, meaning that the total 3 is equal to Bitcoin, that's really where things top out. That's where things are getting overheated in the market. And right now, we are extremely low for the total 3. We're all the way in the cool down zone. So in theory, there's so much more upside to play here, right? In the last cycle, the reason why we saw this major move up in the total 3 against Bitcoin is because Bitcoin's price began stalling at this point in the cycle. It hit a new all-time high, continued to get new highs, created that Wyckoff pattern, and the altcoins caught up and actually ended up outperforming towards the end of the cycle. And then you had a 1-to-1 equal to Bitcoin market cap for the total 3 versus Bitcoin. And so that happened in 2017, right? You can see over here. In 2017, we had 1-to-1 equal to Bitcoin. 2021 equal. We're looking for, at minimum, 3/4 equal to Bitcoin, if not a 1-to-1. So there's a lot of room to move up. Bitcoin may continue to gain a little bit of dominance as it breaks a new all-time high. But what we've seen is historically, after the second all-time high break, usually you get a major move for the alts to equal Bitcoin in market cap. And once they do equal Bitcoin, it basically means that things are overvalued, that we're getting overextended. Because when all the alts are equal to Bitcoin, that is a sign that probably overvalued. So right now, it's sort of the opposite. We're in the cool down zone, likely undervalued, and there's a lot of room to run. And these runs for this altcoin to Bitcoin ratio, in the last cycle, it only took really like 18 or 20 weeks for this ratio to get to a 1-to-1. And where would that put us? That could put us into September or October, actually, end of September. And what's interesting is that 15 to 20 weeks from here lands us at the end of September, which is right before October. which is exactly what the halving cycle profit model is suggesting. In every cycle, once you're 80 weeks in, that is really the end for Bitcoin and altcoins. Right around that 80-week mark, right? Go to the others chart, the low cap index, 80 weeks, that's usually where the market tops. So right now we're on track for others and Total 3, right? Low cap alts and high cap alts to have major expansion and run into October. So there's quite a lot of time. There's quite a lot of time for that to play out. There's quite a lot of time for dominance to come down. So really everything does point to the idea of alt season, that alts are going to begin to outpace Bitcoin. And the reason why I say that is because if you look at Bitcoin and you take a look at how much percent would it have to, what is the percent to getting to, let's say 125,000, that's 20%, 150,000, that's 43% to 150,000, 43%. And Ethereum is up 50% this week. So you can see the reason why altcoins are likely to outpace Bitcoin is because Bitcoin is now very high in price and in market cap, and altcoins are very low in price and in market cap. It has a perfect setup for alt season, right? So it is what it is. This is just what the market is showing me, what the market is telling me. I know Bitcoin maximalists don't like to hear this stuff, but this is just what I see. And once again, BloFin has pretty much every listing you could possibly need. They add new listings all the time. All of the newest coins, they add them usually 5-10 minutes before Binance and Bybit. They're very quick with adding new coins. So this is the exchange you would want to be on for alt season. 10% cashback, and currently exclusive offer for this community, bonuses for deposits. I'll see you guys in the next video.